Oh boy, Matt Walsh. Maybe the most detestable, hateable right-wing pundit of them all. He's so annoying and smug, and he lies without any amount of hesitation. He's also very hateful. He gets a lot of joy out of putting down minorities and just ripping them apart, and he's awful. He just loves to feed hate to his audience and receive positivity as this weird feedback loop of destruction. Though I'm happy to report that Matt Walsh has seen a marked drop in viewership as of late, and as has the entire Daily Wire, Ben Shapiro, all those goons. They've all fallen off. Largely because they are on the side of this right-wing civil war, this right-wing schism that's been going on, that's pro-Israel, that's pro-Donald Trump at all costs. And that is the side that is losing right now. The hyper-populist, drain the swamp, and now Trump is the swamp side of this issue, the Nazi side of the right, they're winning. At least in the battle between the moderate right and the far right. They're winning that battle. And that's bad for Trump. Trump was considered far right for many Americans, but in the modern Overton window, he's actually not that radical. At least on certain issues. Obviously, policy-wise, he wants to be a dictator, but on a lot of issues, he's a lot less radical than people like Nick Fuentes. I mean, he's not anti-Semitic enough to not support Israel, for one. So, Matt Walsh, thankfully taken a pretty big hit as of late. That's kind of a little, that's like a little chaser to the bitter brew that is having to watch any amount of Matt Walsh. I hope you guys can appreciate that. But he put out a video talking about Sydney Sweeney. You might expect it would be a video praising her because white supremacists, Nazis, and far-right people have been loving Sydney Sweeney. They've kind of made her like their mascot of sorts. But no. She has actually come out to denounce white supremacy and racism, and in response, Matt Walsh dropped a video that is called, I kid you not, Sydney Sweeney proves she's not as based as conservatives thought. It's so weird how hard these people are trying to straddle the line of like embracing how racist the right is now, but they can't go all the way because they can't go full anti-Semite. They work for Ben Shapiro. They have to be pro-Israel. It's really funny. They are trapped in a prison of their own making. A prison of their own grift. I love it. Anyway, folks, if you end up enjoying this video, be sure to leave a like down below, comment, subscribe, and ring the bell icon if you want to see more. Say who up Xandering they haul down below if you want to boost the video. And of course, hype the video if you can, and don't forget to join the fan Discord, link down below. Without any further ado, though, let's get right into it.
Want to be accepted by their peers. Not excusing it at all, but that's what this is. Especially people in Hollywood, people in entertainment, they want to be adored and accepted and flattered by the people they respect, which are their fellow Hollywood elitists. Here's an unfortunate, though predictable update. People has this. Sydney Sweeney is addressing her highly publicized American Eagle denim ad in an emotional interview with People.
I don't know how many of you remember this, but Sydney Sweeney did this really weird ad for a company that does fashion called American Eagle. It's almost all denim stuff that they produce, and she did an ad where she's got her tits out, and she's in all denim, and the joke of the whole ad is that she is in jeans, and she repeatedly, or at the end of the ad, they say Sydney Sweeney has great jeans, but the video is like caressing, the camera's like caressing her body. Like the camera is actively groping her titties, more or less, right? And so the joke is that she's got really good genes for having a sexy body, right? Everybody believes this. Everybody thinks that. So yeah, and her dad, I think, is into eugenics and stuff, if I'm not mistaken. So it's like, maybe it's a reference to her dad having a child with really good genes. It's like, there was a lot to take from it, if you assume it had a double meaning. It's worth noting that Sydney Sweeney had already been the right-wing sweetheart for a while, so it was inevitable that people were going to take that ad the way that they did. It read very weird.
Came under fire, of course, for this ad. We know about that. Sweeney tells people, I was honestly surprised by the reaction. I did it because I love the jeans and love the brand. I don't support the views some people chose to connect to the campaign. Many have assigned motives and labels to me that just aren't true. Sweeney tells people she's someone who leads with kindness and that she's addressing the campaign backlash to clarify her stance and dispel negativity. Anyone who knows me knows that I always try to bring people together. I'm against hate and divisiveness. In the past, my stance has been to never respond to negative or positive press, but recently I've come to realize that my silence regarding this issue has only widened the divide, not closed it.
Damn. That is pretty powerful when you think about it, because when, like, for a lot of people, they have to have assumed that Sydney Sweeney was in on it, right? That seeing how many far-right people are like trying to claim her, that she must have been known about it and must have been in favor of it, because why else wouldn't she say anything? but knowing that she's kind of always operated on a policy of, like, when people on the internet are talking about you, ignore it. And that may sound bad, especially in a case like this, but is it really? Like, if you were a celebrity, and, like, you ended up becoming famous tomorrow, and you knew that the internet was going to be talking about you a lot, would you not, like, want to enforce for yourself a rule that you would try your best to ignore what people on the internet are saying about you, for better or for worse? Like, obviously, it got to a point where she decided she had to say something, but the idea that she just generally doesn't respond to what the internet is saying about her, and this is just the point where she's decided it's gone too far, she needs to say something, I feel like that's believable. Like, call me naive, call me gullible, I think that's believable. That explains a lot as to why she hasn't made any denunciations of these people in the past. Because it's been years now that these people have been simping for her.
So I hope this new year brings more focus on what connects us instead of what divides us. So there it is. That's the backtrack. That's the walk back. That's the apology. Maybe not the full apology. That's like the lead up to the apology. That's the almost apology, the prologue to the apology. And it's a hint that, so this coming year, I'm going to bring people together. So that means she's going to do a whole bunch of woke nonsense over the next year. That's her plan.
I love that. Conservatives hear literally anything positive and think, ugh, woke.
And so Sydney Sweeney is not the based right-winger that many right-wingers had hoped that she would be. What changed? Well, nothing changed. To be totally clear, nothing has changed. People want to be accepted by their peers. Not excusing it at all, but that's what.
Mind you, the thing that he's saying is, like, based right-winger is racist right-winger. The thing she literally said was, I'm not racist. That's all she said was, hey guys, by the way, I'm not racist. Sorry for not saying this sooner. Apparently that is what makes her not based. I feel like you're admitting a lot there, Matt.
What this is. Especially people in Hollywood, people in entertainment, they want to be adored and accepted and flattered by the people they respect, which are their fellow Hollywood elitists. Sydney Sweeney does not want to be admired or praised by people like you or me. She doesn't want our approval. Our approval just made it worse for her, actually. That's the last thing she wants. So, she could stick to her guns and earn the adulation of right-wing Neanderthals like me, or she could back down and break her silence and say the words they want her to say and all that, and earn the praise of her fellow Hollywood degenerates, and she chose.
Fellow Hollywood degenerates. Man, you gotta love how fast these people switch up on you the second they indicate they don't agree with you. They worship this woman. They considered her a goddess, a goddess reincarnated up until a couple days ago. And now, or up until today, I guess. And now she's another Hollywood degenerate, all because she expressed opinions they don't agree with.
Chose the latter, as they always do. As they always do. This is how it always ends. With these, and I'm kind of mad at myself because this was my instinct every time there's a celebrity who comes out and says something or does something vaguely conservative, and conservatives desperately cling on to this person, clinging onto their legs, just on the floor, praising them because we have someone in Hollywood who's indicated that maybe they don't completely hate us. And every time that happens, I've always been.
When did she say she hated you? All she did was say she's not racist, dog. So her not being racist means she hates you. That's a lot to unpack there.
And as is my custom, the negative Nancy. I've always been the guy who says, yeah, this person's not really on our side. Just wait. They're gonna, you wait and see. And that's always been my take. This was the one time where I sort of tried to be optimistic about it.
God, this is so
This
cringe.
is the one time where I didn't do that. I said, okay, you know what? I'm not going to be that guy this time. Everyone is fawning over Sydney Sweeney. I'm not going to fawn over her, but I'll let them have their fun. I'm not going to be the guy who comes in and says, hey, by the way, she's definitely a leftist. Okay, she's going to break your heart. All right, she's going to turn around and apologize. It's going to happen. I'm telling you. And I didn't say that this time. This is the one time I didn't say it.
God, it feels like a jilted lover, right? Like he's acting like a dude who's been broken up with or something like that. It's so fucking funny, dude. Ironically, these high testosterone right-wing guys seem pretty sensitive. Yeah, good point, Pinja Pasca.
This is the lesson I learned. The one time I decided to be somewhat optimistic, to not be totally negative all the time. The one time I decided. And she makes a fool of me too. So even though I never...
Matt Walsh really is negative all the time. Like, his entire brand is kind of monotonely droning at the camera, condescendingly, and if not condescendingly, he's angrily ranting. Like, he really is just angry boomer fuel.
Really bought it. I never bought the act, but, you know. And that's...
Notice how, like, played up his set is with different hobbies he doesn't actually do. Like the canoe in the background, the oars, the fishing rods, the model sailboat, the leather bag, the cloth plaid traveling bag, the mounted fish, the random driftwood above the fireplace, the fake fire in the fireplace, the cross above the fireplace. I can't identify anything else in the background, but like everything about this set is so manufactured. I hope you guys know this is a set. It is an office in, I believe, Memphis, Tennessee, if I'm not mistaken, is where the Daily Wire operates. Brett Cooper's quote-unquote bedroom was also an office at the Daily Wire.
That's it. The thing that was probably definitive for her is when she had that now iconic interview with GQ and she gave her answer. The fact that, yeah, she's getting a lot of flack from the people that she actually likes, but the fact that she was praised so much by people on the right, that is probably what scared her the most. And then she went out and she had this movie that came out, and I forget the name of it, but it was a flop. And then I'm guessing that she went and hired a new publicist, and that publicist came in and said, well, the reason why it flopped is because everyone was upset about the American Eagle ad, which is not true at all, by the way. It's got nothing to do with it.
How do you know?
So she gets this publicist, and then she puts out this very publicist-like statement about breaking the silence and all that kind of stuff. And that's it. And that's the way it always goes.
He really just sounds like a bitter ex-boyfriend right now. It's really funny.
And that's why, the only Hollywood actors and celebrities who ever fully become quote-unquote right-wing and just embrace it, and they start doing the Fox News hits and all that kind of stuff, the only ones who ever do that are the ones who've already washed out of Hollywood. Right? Maybe
He's literally talking about himself and all his other co-hosts. That's crazy. Oh my god. The fucking projection is crazy. I've talked about this so much that all these right-wing grifters, they all aspired to be actors, failed out of it, and then went for the next best thing, or I guess just the easiest path to success, which is shilling hate. Like, all these people are failed actors.
Few exceptions, but almost all, I'll say almost always, the Hollywood celebrities who become fully out of the closet right-wingers are the ones who their career's over anyway, kind of fell apart, they washed out, they're past their prime. And then they figure, well, I've already lost the praise of my peers because I'm not relevant anymore, and so I might as well go on Fox News and at least get praise that way. And so that's what they end up doing. But when you've got a celebrity who is still like in her prime, she's still on red carpets and still a big celebrity, those types are just not, there's yet to be one who's actually come out and said, hey, I'm a conservative and I'm proud of it. It just doesn't happen. Hey, YouTube, thanks for listening to the show.
I mean, there's some that have done that. Like, there are a number of Hollywood celebrities that are famous for being conservatives. Chuck Norris, James Woods, I could go on, but like, I mean, there was a whole controversy, but they stood by it, There are a lot of big celebrities, even to this day, that are open conservatives. I'm pretty sure Woody Harrelson is an open Republican, right? Is he not, like, open about voting Republican? Or am I wrong about that? Chris Pratt, I'm not sure if you got... Okay. I'm gonna make a lot of people angry with this. Y'all are aware that, like, 90% of the hate for Chris Pratt, or the things that you believe are reasons to hate Chris Pratt, were assumptions. The thing about Chris Pratt was that there was some evidence that he was a bit weird, and once enough was there, people started filling in the gaps to make something they could call real. Now, the most strong piece of evidence that Chris Pratt was some kind of right-wing nutjob was that he, at one point, was a member of a church that has been known to have some pretty insane, like, anti-LGBT beliefs. But what we knew is he was just a member of that church at one point. As it turns out, he hadn't been a member of that church for, like, over a decade, maybe multiple decades. And on top of that, he has expressed, and continues to express in response to when people were talking about that, very pro-LGBT, like, anti-racism beliefs. Like, you can say he's just trying to save face, but, like, outside of just things that seemed like red flags to people, everything Chris Pratt has said about politics openly has been progressive. So no, I would not count Chris Pratt. Chris Pratt has actively made an effort to debunk the claims that he's a secret conservative. If he was a secret conservative, he'd be doing that, to be fair, but there's just not enough evidence that suggests he actually is a conservative. Tim Allen is also a conservative actor. Yeah, I mean, Matt Walsh is just making shit up here, but what else would you expect? It's Matt Walsh. Anyway, if you enjoyed that video, leave a like, comment who up Xandering they haul down below, subscribe if you want to see more from me, and ring that bell icon, hit that hype button to boost the video in the algorithm, and make sure to join my fan Discord if you want to be a part of my community and fan base, because that is the place to be. You don't want to miss anything, you want to be there. I'm going to be hosting a watch party there soon in my Discord after stream, so I hope you guys can make it. Make sure to join down below in the description. Thank you for watching.